Hey guys, it's me Rebecca. So this will be the start of another weekly vlog, and so for today I've just done some yard work and whatnot, and I've done quite a bit of reading. I'm currently reading Immortal Longings by Chloe Young, and I'm almost done. I feel like I'm probably gonna finish this tomorrow. But this is about this is about this like competition where it's like 88 people are chosen randomly to compete, and they all have to kill each other essentially. And the last one standing gets a lot of money, wins this grand prize, and we. Is it? Sorry, my God, that's not a bit. Just because I'm, we'll jump on this because there's a lot I want to say, but this takes place in a world where you're able to kind of jump bodies, like your, I guess so, is able to leave your body, one body and enter another, and it's really like looked down upon. Like I think it's almost illegal in this country, but during these tournaments, it's almost allowed. In these tournaments, like people really enter it because they need the money. Like this takes place in this city where it's like it's almost like people are on top of one another. Like there's so many people in the city, and the buildings are so tall and whatnot. Like the way it's described is almost claustrophobic. And the king, he doesn't give a shit about the people. Like he takes the land and he doesn't care if the people are healthy or if they have good food. Like the hospitals, like if you're not able to pay your bills for a loved one who's sick, they will kick them out. Like they are so understaffed, and the people who enter these games for money just to survive or to better their lives or anything. And we follow these two individuals, Kaya, who she was a princess who 5 years prior went through this kind of massacred like a lot of people in the palace. Like she killed her parents, she tried to kill her king, and she lives in exile, who she is believed to be dead. And she's really entering these games because she wants to kill her uncle, the king, and she's being assisted by her cousin, who's like the adopted son of the king, and he wants to kill the king because he wants to better the lives of the people in this country. And we follow this other character named Anton, who he's entering the games because he wants to save someone, like he wants to pay the hospital bills of someone he cares about, and he at one point was also part of the palace. I believe he was the son of some council member who the council member was killed. And he was taken into the palace, but because he and this person they tried to rebel, they were thrown out of the palace, and he done some revenge, but this one's better than them. So far, I'm enjoying it. Because like jumping bodies is like normal here. People don't really care about their bodies. I guess like it's like bodies are sold on the black market. Like as vessels for people to choose. Like if it's a good looking body, they'll take it. It's like people don't really care about their bodies just because the king doesn't care about them. Like the king doesn't see his subjects as people. He just sees them as beings that he has power over. And because like the crown he wears, it's believed that he was chosen by the gods to also he sees himself as a god, that he's also powerful, and it's like he has this power that he's kind of just abusing. Like he doesn't care about the people whatsoever, and the people themselves, like because they are living in an environment where it's like so, I guess like used to it. They are not living in good conditions. Like they're used to dying. They're used to being killed during work. Like they don't care if they die during these games. Like they hope they get injured because those who like are victims of someone someone jumping body a competitor who's jumping bodies and then their body gets injured. Like they get money as well. So it's like no one cares about their physical well-being. Because they're able to jump bodies, but also be like that's the way things are in here. So yeah, I'm just very much enjoying it, and I'm enjoying the kind of chemistry between Kaya and Aton. So yeah, I'm just intrigued to see how this finishes up. But yeah, I think that's all for now. I'm quite tired, I don't know why, so yeah, I'll see you when I see. So it's the next day and I've just done some cleaning in Rana, and I have finished Immortal Longings, and I very much enjoyed this. I'm gonna give it a 4 stars. Like I mentioned yesterday, I enjoyed seeing how, because body jumping is a thing in this universe, and really because how the king treats the people, how like people's bodies they're disregarded, like people sell their bodies, like whatnot for different purposes, and yeah, like for them it's like they can change their bodies and find a party that they think is the most attractive to take over, and whatnot. Like I just enjoyed those aspect as well, like the whole like torment aspect. Like I did really understand, like I guess I understand like why the common folk, the people not involved in the torments would be like would need to upset. Like yes, it is scary seeing someone wandering around with a weapon like a sword, like Kaya is, but it's like if they get injured in capacity, then they might get they might not rewarded, but they will get money for what happened. So yeah. But with what I read this morning, we did see the final battle that takes place when there's like 2 players left, and usually, and with this tournament, is like if the players come across one another, or to keep it like from taking place like over years or whatnot, because there are a lot of people. The palace wasn't pings to the wristbands the players wear on, and when there's another player nearby, like once or twice a day. And when there's 2 players left there, and this tournament that just take place over the city, it's not like there's one section of it where the tournament takes place. And when there's 2 players left, it's like I don't know, it's like final battle to see who the victor will be as well. Like it's for the public to enjoy as well. Really, the king to is like I guess rejoice in the blood that's been spread, and for the plan that Kaya and August came up with, Kaya had to win in order to get close to the king, in order to kill him, because there would have been no other way to do so. And here we see that. And we see how the plan that August and Kaya comes into fruition from the person that ends up on the throne, or is crowned king, isn't exactly who they planned it to be, and that's what I'm gonna say. I read the last few pages and I was like, okay, I'm intrigued to see what happens in book 2. So yeah, I very much enjoyed it. And I think the next book I'm gonna begin is Go Silent by Max Zeke. And this is the 4th book in his A Ghost of the Past novel, which is this series of, I guess, detective novels following this detective named Jessica Niami and her team on a Lansky police department, and you just follow the cases they're solving while we see Jessica just deal things in her personal life. And I would say with this book series, it's not a series where it's like you can read it out of order. I would suggest read it in order just because the events of the first case are the events of the case in the first book are brought up in the second and third books. So yeah, and I'm not entirely sure like how it will be connected in this 4th volume, in this 4th book. But in this one, we see how Jessica, she's put on leave after a violent alteration she's involved in, makes headlines, and To escape the unwanted quantity, she travels to this remote island, and she's just hoping, to be left alone as she faces the possibility that she's losing what is left of her sanity. But three elderly visitors have arrived at the same small seaside inn for their yearly sojourn. They are the remaining birds of spring, former refugees who fled Finland as children during World War II and lived together for a few months in an orphanage on the island, and this orphanage no longer exists. But the local legend about one of its inhabitants still haunt the surviving orphans. And every evening, the young girl would stand on the pier in her blue coat, looking out at the dark water, until one night she disappeared and was never seen again. And one of the birds of spring is found dead. Jessica learns about the other two deaths, also connected to the orphanage, and yeah, it's this Jessica trying to solve this case. So yeah, I'm very much intrigued about that. I'm not sure how I'll update you this because it is a mystery, and I don't know. It's a fun time. Like it's nothing like I really go in depth about analyzing, which is a habit I have, but it's like not literature fiction, not like fantasy. Like I don't know. It's for me. It's my lighthearted read. I would say there's something like an episodic read. It's to relax. I guess so. I don't know. I do read for fun, and I do read to relax. But still, there are some books where it's like I cannot turn my mind off, and I always analyze what's happening in them. So yeah. And yeah, I think that's all for now, so I'll see you when I see you. So it's the next day, and I've just done some cleaning and whatnot, and I have done some reading of Ghost Island, and I'm on page 78, and so far, like, I'm enjoying it. We start with just, like, I guess flashbacks into 1980 with this night watchman who's on duty at this orphanage, and he gets this like really weird phone call in the middle of the night from this person who says they're outside in a blue coat, and he's like, it's probably one of the children, but something about this, like, he goes to investigate it, even though he should probably be seeing if it's like the children misbehaving or something. Like there's something about it that's telling him that it's not the children. And when he goes outside the orphanage, there is someone on the docks near it. And that's really all like we get. Like he tries to put his hand on the person's shoulder and he gets knocked out. I think he dies. I'm not entirely sure what that one was. But then we jump forward to, I want to say present day. This takes place at the beginning of 2020, and the part where like they do mention the pandemic in the sense like it might affect the travel, or it's like travel to and from Helsinki and to and from like Spain and whatnot. And I should say Spain doesn't mean to play with this, but like this travel in general. I'm just using it as an example. But yeah. Anyway, we see Jessica who's in this like therapy session. I think it's like psychotherapy, where she's just trying to figure out what exactly is going on with her and whatnot. And the therapist says something about like her relationship with Ernie, how she saw him as like a father figure, how she wanted to impress him, like how she almost relied on him. And since Ernie, who was like her former supervisor at the police station, who died in sometime between the first and second book, she viewed him as like, I guess, this father figure, as like and when he died, she feels lost, and as well other stuff. And this therapy session does have an effect on her, and she just feels like very nauseous. But after this encounter with this asshole, after she gets sick, she's now put on leave, like, but her now current head of the department she's in wants her to kind of like keep a low profile for a bit, because Jessica, the confrontation she has with this guy is filmed, someone recognizes her, and it's like posted on YouTube. It goes viral about the fact like detective gone wild or something like that in the title. So in order for the department to keep a good reputation, she kind of is. She's told to keep a low profile, like leave, take a few days, take some time off, really just go. And she does that really. She goes to this island in the island archipelago, and just like does whatever. Like she walks and whatnot. Like the owners of the lodge she's at, they think she's writing a book. Like they recognize her from the case from the second book, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you're writing a detective novel. Like we can help." And she's like, "I'm just gonna let you believe it, but yeah." And then she hears about these people really, not women, the birds of spring, these two women and a man who come into the lodge every year, and it's like almost a reunion. Like they are people who were at this orphanage together. They're the last of the birds of spring. Like they've dwindled over the years just because of people dying and whatnot, and she hears their story, like how they were children from a war that happened in, I think it was called the La Pen War, I want to say, and they were all sent to this orphanage. One point during it, like they were in different families, but then something happened and they had to go to this orphanage. And after the war, it's like, yeah. And there are 9 of them, but one of them, like, I guess was more like faced a lot more hardships during the war, and she's rumored to be the girl in a blue coat, and there's some figure that the local fishermen tell is like almost a ghost story. Like, in that department, like Jessica's just being. We're just about to hear the actual story from the son of the owner of this lodge, a guy named Ike, and I don't know. So far, I'm just enjoying this. I do have to say, I do enjoy the part where Jessica, she is dealing with something with her mental health. I'm not gonna say what it is she's dealing with exactly, just because I think that might be spoilery. But it's a disease that her mother also had, and she is worried that she's becoming more and more like her mother in a state of their well-being when it comes to dealing with aspects of this disease, and she's worried like if she'll become like her mother or if she'll take a different path, and seeing how she's coming to grapple with that is just really fascinating because she's around the same age as her mother was when things got worse for her mother. So yeah, and it seems like Jessica, she is somewhat medicated but not as strongly medicated. Like she's taking a very strong sleeping pill just to really help her sleep, and yeah, so far I'm just enjoying the part of seeing Jessica deal with her mental well-being and like this to figure out what to do next. And yeah, if she wants to not be like her mother or and be better, or if she just wants to flee Helsinki and just live in the middle of nowhere, like this, isolate herself from the rest of humanity. Like she's trying to figure out the next step of this, and so far I'm just very much intrigued about that aspect. So yeah, I think that's what I can say for now. I'm literally only 80 pages in, but yeah. Yeah, I think that's all for now, so I'll see you. And I'm back, and I just remembered there's something in here that was, I don't know, I'm intrigued about. We get just like entries from this person who, like, they saved a baby bird that fell out of a tree, and it seems like they're taking care of it. Like the bird's parents like abandoned it. and at times the bird would try to misbehave, like it was not eating while the person's around and whatnot. Like, I'm just wondering what that's all about. So yeah, like, just like what is with the chapters about the bird. So yeah, now that's all for now. I'm so sorry. I'm just out of it. I don't know why. So yeah. Now I'll see you probably tomorrow. So it's the next day, and I have done some reading of Ghost Island, and now I'm on page 146, and so far very much enjoying it. Having, I guess, fun. Yeah. We do learn the tale of the girl in a blue coat, an orphan girl named Maija. I'm sorry if I butchered that, but she was this really young girl who people thought was crazy. People thought she was mentally ill because she had this like ritual where she would stand at the end of the dock every night, and no matter what, like she would just stand there, like you couldn't force her to move, no matter threatening her or anything. Like Jessica, it seems like she sympathizes with the girl. Like it's like, so what if she had a ritual? Like I don't know. She just doesn't really get why people thought she was crazy. I myself don't really understand why people thought she was crazy. If there's more than that, but one night she disappeared alongside one of the rowboats, and it's like, did she roll away? Like what happened with her? But she became this local legend, this haunted tale people would tell, I guess. And no one, like, for children who came to the orphanage, they refused to stay in room 6, not because they didn't want to or whatever. It's like they couldn't sleep. I don't know, the way it was told, it seems like that it was just a girl who disappeared, and it was like the idea of her scared them more than like any actual ghost sightings. So yeah. But that night, Jessica, she goes for a stroll to the orphanage to the dogs, and she sees, I guess, this ghost, this girl in the blue coat who's like, "Don't worry, mommy, daddy will come," or something like that. And it seems like this causes a shift in Jessica, because on page 86, like she has stopped seeing the ghost of her mother, and it's like her mother is not coming back ever. But Jessica called the girl sweetheart, and the girl called Jessica mommy. Something irreversible has happened, or it is happening just now. And it's like, initially I thought that maybe this is another girl who somehow is going through something similar to Jessica, but it seems like the vision Jessica has of her mother is now being replaced by this other image, this other, as Jessica has called it, hallucination, that she has to figure out like what happened, and it was just a really interesting scene. And the next morning, the next morning there's been a body that was discovered. One of the bird of the spring was found drowned, and Jessica she doesn't exactly remember the night. Like it's like a bit of a blur. Like I believe, I'm not sure if it's because she did drink like one of the medications she does take. In her psychologist did tell her not to mix it with alcohol, so I'm not sure if that's what caused that like lapse in time or what. But you see how Jessica, it seems like she no longer trusts her mind. Like she thinks she remembers stuff, and she realizes she's confusing reality with her imagination. So I'm very much intrigued to see how that will continue throughout the story. So, yeah. And we do see flashbacks to 1940s with Maija, and it seems like she was bullied by the bird of spring who died, a woman named Elizabeth, who at the time went by Beth, and Beth was 13 at the time while Maija was 9, and Beth, I'm just gonna call her Beth in the past timeline, she would act like she's more mature, she's older, like it's like that kind of thing when you're 13 and you just want to be treated like an adult even. And I do have to say that this mentioned effect she does a fully like Guam vest, which this is a detail that makes me uncomfortable every time it is mentioned. Like she does, and it seems like she was this bully towards Marjorie. Like she would, like, oh, let me borrow your allowance, no, and Marjorie would know full well she's not getting that money back. And Marjorie was also worried about Beth's like behavior, like then Beth would try to take her alarm clock, which you can trade into town for her home. And Beth did spot Marja's box that she keeps. The box contains letters and pictures that her father sent to her from the war, and from what we gathered that her father died sometime in the war. And one night Marja sees someone in her room and she has an idea that Beth went snooping through her stuff. So yeah, there's that. And we did happen back in present day because you see Jessica, she cannot turn that part of her brain off, like that wants to investigate it. Like she knows she shouldn't. She should let the local police do what they need to do, and she should just like stop being an investigator. But she cannot turn that part of her brain off no matter what she wants, and that's what this case, I guess, intrigues her. Like it was even to a point where she sees like, I guess, an image, or she has an hallucination of, and it's like, are you really gonna give up this case? And this vision she has, like, hallucination she has, it convinces her to investigate. So yeah, we see that, and we learned that Elizabeth didn't just die from drowning, but she was hit in the head. And we also learned that one of the other birds of the spring, a man named Armas, he claims to have seen Maija on the dock, which would have been impossible, mainly because this was 70 years ago. So she would have been like a woman in her late 70s, early 80s. And so probably was some other girl in a blue coat that he saw. So, and one last thing is the chapters with the person with the bird. Like, the bird does die, and it causes the person to want to kill people. Like, it seems like the bird was really I think it was literally just a symbolism of actual hope. And when that hope died, the person wanted revenge for the person who misled them to have such hope. And we learn that Maija, she does get a letter from her father saying he's coming to get her, and from what I gathered, like, that was this hopeless, like, someone gave her false hopes that her father is actually alive, and this is her revenge after all this time. So I'm just very much intrigued to see where that goes, and if we'll get more of those, like, chapters with the person who had this bird named Hope, or what. So yeah, so far I'm just very much intrigued seeing how Jessica will just handle this investigation on her own. Like, she doesn't have anyone of her team with her. She's not in contact with anyone because she really is on this vacation to get away from everyone and everything, and just figure her stuff out. And as well how it will affect her, I guess, mentally, and if she will get answers to questions she has and whatnot, and as well really like what actually is going on. And did Maija come back to that island after all this time for revenge, or is it something else? Like, I don't know. I'm very much intrigued to see where this goes. So yeah, and I think that's all for now. So I will see you when I. So it's the next day, and I've just done some cleaning and whatnot. I also waked some leaves and yeah, and I have done a bit of reading of Ghost Island, and now I'm on page 230, and so far very much enjoying it. We do, assuming that both of us, it is learned that the letters Marja thought were being sent by her father, who I think she knew was dead, but I think deep down like hoped that somehow he survived. But it turns out it was this a god-awful prank being pulled by Baffled. Honestly, I don't blame Marja for wanting her revenge, but if it's her or if it's like someone further down the line, but Armas, who is one of the remaining Bird of Spring, like he tells Jessica, my god, that he knew what Beth did, and he did try to tell Marja before he left to be with his adopted family. So there's that. And I do enjoy, and I do like that seeing how Jessica, she continues to worry like if she can trust her judgment, because she worries of the fact she might be confusing reality with her imagination, if her imagination is crossing into reality. And seeing that in her worries, like seeing her doubt herself, seeing doubt like if she should continue to be a policewoman, or if she should just quit and hide away or hide from the rest of society. Like seeing that is just very much intriguing. And yeah, and she goes into Astrid's office like to like find information from the guest registration book, and she's kind of caught by Astrid before she like helped her husband like won the like lodge. She was a doctor, and I cannot say. Honestly, there's something that she says to Jessica that's like everyone sees these spoilers. I'm not gonna say what kind of doctor Astrid was, but she it's like I took one look at you and I knew you had this condition, and it's like I don't know. This felt like a bit weird. It's like, how can you look at someone and know they have a condition? Like, she might have been a very skilled doctor, I'm not gonna doubt it, but this novel takes place in 2020, and she did retire in 1997, so maybe a bit rusty, but as well, it's a bit questionable, like she's trying to throw Jessica off something, like throw her off her trail or something, which but it causes Jessica to think maybe she actually has this condition. Like she aligns to sometimes she's having with symptoms people with this condition typically do have. So that is, I don't know, intriguing. Like, there's a lot of things in here that's like the characters acting very questionable. I'm not sure like who's involved and who's not. I always do enjoy seeing that, like the Swedish couple, like when the detective who's involved in this investigation tries to question them, they get very defensive. Like that makes sense, and yeah, sorry. And it's like they're there to enjoy their vacation. They're not there because they might be a murder suspect. So yeah, there's that. And I don't know. I'm interested to see how Jessica will grapple with this, because of the condition she has, her mental illness, and it's one that's genetic, and she didn't want kids because she was worried about passing it down to her children, and like she just felt sorry for the kid because the kid was there with a mentally ill mother and also a father who wasn't really a good guy. he was someone who was involved in the case from the last novel, so I'm gonna say, and he did end up dying. So yeah, but Jessica, she goes to the orphanage and into Mary Jasmine. We see Mary Jasmine was really much like abandoned. Like there was a orphanage like over time was like upgraded, and Mary Jasmine was like that's left how it was like. And under this the thing that confused me. Under Maya's bed, she finds this like, it's like telling the reader where Maya buried the box where she kept her father's letters. And like, it's your room. Why would you have that written, like those instructions written under the bed? I don't know. I was just a bit confused. I'm guessing she did so like in case her father does come for her and he comes back for the letters. I don't know, that one is like kind of confused me, but yeah, we also see how the detective working the case in Jessica, who were like at odds with one another. The detective wanted Jessica to stay out of his way, let him do his job. He's like, yeah, fine, you can help. He also is dealing with his own stuff. And they also admit that the last bird of the spring, a woman named Isla, I want to say, she saw someone go into the tool shed like the night before. So we have two figures, two of the people of the remaining bird of spring who saw someone the night before when Elizabeth died. Is like, what happened that night? Who was the one sneaking around? Who's the person on the dock, the child on the dock? Who's this figure in the tool shed? Like, yeah, and yes, finally we see how the rest of the team kind of, not rest of the team, but Amos and, not Amos, Ramos and Yusuf, I don't know how to say his name, I'm sorry. How they get involved, because Jessica just call them to help them, like, kind of one, like, background information on those who are staying at the lodge and just get information. So, yeah, seeing that, seeing how they're also in kind of conflict with Haru, the head who was asked by, like, that police department over there, like, information about Jessica, and she's like, Jessica, what the fuck are you involved in this time? So, yeah, seeing all of that is just, I don't know, I'm less intrigued, and I'm also intrigued, like, who's keeping the secrets. And I have to say that I don't know if, like, if it will turn out, if Jessica will actually have this new medical condition that she now has, or if it's like Astrid is trying to say something just to throw her off her trail. Like, Astrid saw something and it's like, saw how Jessica was behaving, and it's like trying to throw her off. Because with this condition, Jessica would have to probably stop taking medicine she's taken for her mental illness, and I'm not sure if that will come into play, like if Jessica is someone who deals with hallucinations, and I'm not sure if those hallucinations will somehow get heightened because she stopped taking her medicine. So yeah, if it's just Astrid trying to throw her off her trail, because apparently Astrid and Ike, who is her son, there's a seventh person in the lodge, and that none of the guests see or know about, but Jessica knows someone's there. She saw a scrap on the registration book. She saw someone in a window, like. So yeah, I'm just intrigued about that. Intrigued about Willie as well, the detective, because Ike, who it seems like he was a childhood friend of Jonah, he was the detective, and he's like I didn't want John on this case. Like he volunteered. He wasn't assigned. It's like he doesn't trust him for some reason. I'm like, so yeah. There's those questions. I don't know. So far, I'm just very much intrigued to see how this case will go. So yeah, I think that's it for now. Sorry if this update was a bit quiet at times. My mother was in the kitchen, which is right there, and I don't know. I still don't feel like confident or comfortable like talking to a camera with my parents. I don't know. It's just they know about the channel, but yeah, it's just me getting my own head. But yeah, and also I'm not sure if the camera like stopped recording or if I didn't record properly. So I'm sorry if there might be a gap. I'm not sure, but yeah. But I think that's all for now, so I'll see you. So it's the next day, in fact it's the next night, and usually I would, if I have to film at night, I would just do it upstairs in my bedroom just because they have better lighting up there. But I'm tired and I'm also quite lazy to go upstairs. So you're just getting this horrible lighting of which, so yeah, but I've just been quite busy today. I'm also not feeling well as it's that time of the month and I'm just like, I don't know, I just usually feel drained by the end of the day and throughout the day. But I have done a bit of reading of Ghost Island and I'm on page 316 and again I'm still very much enjoying it. Like it's not a fun time, but it's like a suspenseful time. Like I'm on the edge of my seat wondering what the hell is going on. I do have to say, I do find it intriguing that Jessica, she sees ghosts, like with her hallucinations. Like she sees Maja, the girl in the blue coat, like who likely is dead. I don't think she would be around like to an 80-year-old or. But also Jessica sees ghosts of her past, those who are dead, like Earn and an ex of hers, and it seems like the fact these ghosts, like they seem to be like in a way encouraging her to keep going with this investigation and keep going as like in her career as a detective, which I do find interesting. And we do learn quite a bit of stuff. We learn that Jonah, he's not supposed to be investigating this case. He wasn't assigned to this case, and there's another factor that prevents him from really like, working with the police on it. Yeah, and apparently he is an orphan. He was at the orphanage, and from time to time he would go to the villa, like just to spend the night. Like he was given permission to do so because the villa's quite close and he was good behavior and whatnot. And it seems like no one wanted to adopt Jonah because of this certain behavior traits he apparently showed. And we learn later that he does have bipolar disorder and borderline personality disorder, both of which are noted in his like work file or like his employee file at the police station. And that's not really like meant in bad way or used against him. Like he thinks he is trying to help protect the remaining birds of spring, and he's just trying to protect them. He's upset with the fact that that Elizabeth died, and I just said used against him. It is used against him. I don't know why I said that, but it's like the other characters like Ike, who when they're speaking about him, like they don't say the exact disorder, but they do try to villainize him to Jessica, and Jessica anyway she does fall for it. So yeah, I don't know, like the fact it is like his own mental well-being is used against him. I would say it's not the best thing, but don't know how common it is in books to do so, just because I don't really read a lot of like detective mysteries, but yeah. And yeah, where's my train of thought? And yeah, and but you, I mean, you see that he at one point might have been a suspect, or it's the fact that he was at the orphanage when the night guard, the night watchman, and the director of the orphanage both died. Like he was the only child there both times, so that aroused suspicions. And I told his suspicions to Jessica, and yeah, and Jonah, he has this, I guess, episode where he has all of the birds of spring, Ike, and Astrid in the like in an area where they eat, and there's a not Ike, my god, no. Ike goes in and there's a bit of some conversation, nothing bad, but you see that Jonah is arrested, and after his arrest, Jessica, she goes into the tool shed and she finds this like hidden cellar, and there she finds this like scarecrow, like this girl made out of wood and whatnot, and she's wearing a blue coat, has like what's color hair, like she's supposed to look like Marja. And then when I read that paragraph, I thought, is this like supposed to be keeping a legend alive? Because keeping a legend alive for the villa is means it's good business. Like that's why certain characters were there to give the villa good press. Is to talk about the legend of the girl in the blue coat. But really, it may have been used for something else, probably to, I don't know, lure the victims out, but to have, yeah, lure the victims out. And yeah, that's really, I have. Like, Jonah, like the last bit I read, Jonah is being interrogated, and he says something like he was the one who made the phone calls, but apparently he was told to do so, and that has caused me to believe that another character is very much involved, the character we already met and we know. And yeah, I don't know, I'm less enjoying it, like just seeing like Jessica kind of go back and forth like, on what to do next, if she should just isolate herself from the rest of the humanity, because that seems very like promising, and well known, and just like, and or like if she's on a boat, she like to jump off, like how easy it is just to end everything and stop mind. She now has to consider this her condition and see if it's worth it. And I don't know, that back and forth I do like, because it's like Jessica, she has her demons, she has like this illness that she didn't really not ask for, but she I guess deals with, which doesn't feel that right term. And it's, she knows it's getting out of control, and it fucking scares her, and she doesn't know what to do. And I don't know, seeing that, it's just intriguing to see what she decides, if she decides to continue on in her career, if she decides no, and to go off and isolate herself from everything and everyone she knows. Like, I'm just intrigued to see what she does next. I don't believe there are any more books published in the series after this. I think for now, Maxik is taking a bit of a hiatus from the series. I'm guessing right from his Instagram. I don't know, but so far I'm just very much intrigued. So yeah, I think that's it for now. I'm gonna lie down and sleep because I'm exhausted, so I'll see you when I see you. So it's the next day, and I'm just here to wrap up Go Silent, which I did finish, and also to wrap up this vlog. But first I'm just gonna tell you about my day, and honestly it's just been a long day. I went a bunch of errands and whatnot, and I did do groceries, and yeah. And I did finish Ghost Island, as I mentioned. I enjoyed it. I always enjoy this series. It's just, I guess, a fun time. Yeah. But with this last section, we do explore the themes of like motherhood and what a mother would do to protect their child, and like the strengths, like the lengths a mother would do to keep her child out of trouble, keep them safe in this world, and yeah. And I did like learning, I guess, the murderer's like method with his victims. Like his victims, two of them, they were dying. They were terminally ill, and they still had like, I guess, a life. Like they they had a will to live. Like they wanted to see stuff, go places. Like one wanted to go to France, go to the Mediterranean just to relax, have fun. And it's like, yeah, they want to enjoy life before dying. And to him, taking away that time they wanted is like, that was their punishment for what happened to Maja. Like it's, I guess it's revenge, because Maja, she deserved to have more time, and I guess to him these people didn't. I don't know, but I don't know. He was a philosophical guy who was inspired by Seneca, so. And we also see like Jessica start, I guess, a new chapter in her life. She does mention, and then the third part, like, she's closing this chapter in her life, and that very much intrigued me. It's like, is it just referring to her time on the island in this case, or is it like the end of her career? Is she gonna go somewhere else, like do what she wanted to do and isolate herself, or is it the start of this new chapter as she, like, I guess, grapples with this new condition she has, and I guess this new will to live. Like she did say she doesn't want to die, she wants to live. So yeah, I'm very much intrigued to see that, and really to see, like, there were hints, like, with like kind of now moments blossoming, but the relationship between her and her colleague, her close friend Usuf. Again, I'm sorry if I butchered that pronunciation. I don't really know how to pronounce it, but it's like their relationship went through a change in the book. Something happened that might have affected it, and it's like, will they allow this change to happen? I don't know, but yeah, so far very much intrigued, and I am hoping this isn't the end of the series. I do hope we see more of Jessica, so yeah. And what I will be reading next will be in my next vlog. So if you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see that next vlog, then stick around. I don't know, that was a bad translation, but what I meant is, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of me, then hit the subscribe button. And let me know what you've been up to in the comments down below. And if you want to follow me on any social media, don't know those links running down bar below. I'll see you guys next time I post a video. I forgot my own outro.